Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show, and with me right now I've got a very special guest. She has competed for numerous international and independent wrestling promotions, former World of Sport Women's Champion, worked for Ring of Honor, Shine, Stardom, and many others. Pleased to welcome the one and only KT Electra. Welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Thank you. Hello.
Hey there. So you're from a town in England called Worcester, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, Worcester.
Okay. Now we've got a Worcester, Massachusetts up in New England, so I think that's kind of cool that there's another
Yeah.
town called Worcester. So tell me about your childhood and upbringing.
So I've got a brother. I have an older brother. Mum and dad. I don't know, pretty generic, really. I grew up, I loved wrestling. I also loved dancing from a young age. I did karate, always had bunny rabbits. So, yeah, just normal life. I followed dancing up until I was like a teenager. And then the dancing that I got into was kind of really expensive for the costumes. And that's actually where I get my costumes made now, from a lady through disco dancing. But my mom couldn't really then kind of afford it. My mom and dad divorced. So I then had to stop it. And then, yeah, didn't really have a hobby again until wrestling.
So you kind of were kind of in the performing arts and athletics, since you were young. I mean, it's in the blood. So
Yeah. Even though I've always been shy, like I'm shy and I am quite socially awkward, and but I feel like when you're performing, the same as wrestling, it's different. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so when you have that at such a young age, you start doing it. I mean, you start getting used to like being in front of people, being in front of a crowd, whether it is wrestling or dance. There's a lot of similarities between the two. Routines and training, and really have to be disciplined. So at a young age, you were always a big wrestling fan. Do you remember the first time you started watching?
I know it was around Attitude Era. My brother loved it too. My first favorite wrestler was Stone Cold Steve Austin. His was Jacqueline Ivory. And then my team, Molly Holly. I loved, I loved a bit of Molly Holly and Spike. Then it was like the Trish Stratus, Matt and Jeff Hardy and Lita. Me and my cousin, because in dancing we used to wear knee pads when we did dancing, because it was like a gymnastic kind of fast-paced dancing. I remember on like an old camera when you take photos and then go to Boots, we have here a shop, and you'd have the photos developed, and we used to call ourselves Double Trouble, and we used to do like wrestling posing. So sad, I know. I wish I could find those photos, but I've tried and tried and tried, and I can't. Um, and then yeah, just I went to watch a few shows. That once we thought we were going to see the WWF at Birmingham, but it wasn't. It was actually an independent show, but it was still great. Um, yeah, and then that was, I think, with training, that's why when I first went to a training session and like you're learning, I don't know, the whole thing with like learning different sequences and stuff, like I loved it, because in that sense, it's kind of like how with dancing, you learn this sequence or you learn that sequence. The only difference is obviously wrestling can hurt. So,
Yeah, I
like
mean
taking
it.
your first bump.
Yeah, I mean it prepared you. Dance really helped prepare you for that world of wrestling. Did you know at a young age that you wanted to go into the business?
I did. I just thought it was something that would never be possible. I think that's my dad is more so serious. It's always, like be realistic, get a normal job. I've always had like, why are you doing wrestling? Like, when are you gonna stop going to Japan? Even in my 20s, like I've not been kind of had the I don't know, the encouragement of like, chase your dream, anything's possible. Like I never had that. So I always thought, like when I first did wrestling training for years, I didn't want to do shows. I just wanted to train and enjoy it that way because I never thought that I'd be able to do shows again. Like I say such shows again, I mean because the confidence I had when I was younger compared to like a few years later, stuff you go through in life changes your confidence. Um, but then the trainer that I was with at the time just kind of pushed and pushed with me, and I was like, no, I can do it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, you have to, you get that confidence and you start, really going out and doing what you need to do. And it is very hard, being able to take those bumps. And it's intense. The workouts and drills that the wrestlers are doing, it's not ballet. I mean,
obviously the how physical wrestling is, and with dancing, out of a group of say 30 girls, there was probably two guys at a dance school. And then it's like you're going into something completely the opposite way around. For years, it was just me and my best friend and like probably 20 to 30 guys. Um, and obviously, dancing, wearing yourself in for flexibility, like splits and flips and things like that can hurt. But then when you're taking bumps and, getting hit like you do in wrestling, it's a bit different. But I like having a train. I like the similarity with, kind of being trained and having someone, following like a class. And you've got your homework, the same like with dance. And I'd go home and practice like flexibility. And then with wrestling, you go home, go to the gym, you'll watch and study wrestling. Yeah. And then that's how my brain was for so long, like wrestling, wrestling, wrestling. Like, yeah, it was mad.
you had mentioned just a bit ago about Molly Holly being one of your influences. What was it about Molly that made you go, man, I could do this? I like what her style is.
When she was like more like superhero, like Mighty Molly, I think because I was young then, I don't even know how old I was. But anyway, um, I don't know, for me, it was kind of like, I don't know, just her whole character and oh my God, like I just thought she was like a superhero. And then I named my first hamster after her. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I was just attracted to her character when she did the Mighty Molly.
It's always interesting to find what makes these characters work so well and then you implement it into your own style
Mm.
because I feel like characters are just so important to the wrestling industry. And so um, you start training, doing the drills. Uh, Talk to me about like any advice from your trainers that you got that you still apply to today when you're in the ring.
Well, I was at a training school where I started off for a good while, and some schools can get funny with you going and training elsewhere. So for a long time, I didn't do shows. I just trained, and eventually, I don't know, like someone said to me to go elsewhere, like led me to go somewhere else training. We're coming back now into wrestling. I just want to do, obviously, I want to be trained, and I'm trained by Wild Ball, who's amazing. But when I was younger, I did start going to other schools eventually. And then other schools would contradict what you should and shouldn't be doing. Do more character, stop doing character. Don't do more moves. Like, why are you doing more moves? Or like, you need to do more moves. And I kind of never knew because people that I had help and advice from were amazing as well. So I kind of never knew who to listen to really, and it used to stress me out because once I lost having a character, I wanted to do something different. And then like around the time not long before Japan, I kind of felt characterless then from not having the Chav character. Um, but I don't know, but with bits of advice, there is lots of things that are in my head, but then there's also lots of things that kind of do contradict what I've also been taught. And this is what I say to my trainer now, and he's like, push you in the right direction and that, but you just do what you want to do. Because my main point of wrestling now is not to have any pressure and think about, oh, am I going to make it there? Am I not going to make it there? It's just do some shows, enjoy it. Um, because this is what I've missed out of my life for like nearly 6 years. So.
What has been your favorite part about training?
Um, I do just love like say for example when you're doing like technical wrestling. Like kind of switching and all the fancy like old British British wrestling style as well. Like when I watch someone do that, or when I do it and I learn the maneuver, like it is just exciting. I can't really explain, but you do just get such a thrill from learning. Um, and just doing something right. Like now, I never used to do anything like any flips or walkovers or cartwheels. And like the walkovers and being flexible, that's a trait I can still do now from dancing years ago. So that's stuff that I've started to add into my move set for now. And even just doing that is exciting. It's like, why was I shy to do that? Why wouldn't I have not done that? But then it's also like in my head, maybe because me thinking like, oh, don't do moves and don't do fancy things, do more character and stick to basics. So
Yeah,
that's how my head would be.
yeah, I mean, you want to
Mm.
have those both of those options ready to go, and to have that, combine those two, because I think those
Yeah,
are just as important. Those are both very important um, aspects of, being a wrestler is having the character and having the moves. And
like having
so,
all of it, isn't it? Really, you know.
yeah,
Uh, mm,
everything is. So when that to me, like the makings of a good wrestler is having that character, also being able to work and being able to get the crowd involved as well. The crowd, I feel like, is such an important part of a wrestling match because
yeah,
you're letting them know, what's happening, and they get invested.
yeah.
And getting to watch some of these incredible matches, you're constantly like working. You have to work with your opponent, and you want to get the crowd riled up, whether you're a good guy or bad guy. And so you have to really like tell them like this is what's happening, this is what's going on, and then they get clued in and they start, getting into it.
No, definitely. But that was just one thing. It's just, I think from training at different places, people's advice is going to contradict. And it's not like I should have just thought, right, I'm going to listen to that person. It is kind of just taking a bit of advice from everyone and kind of doing what your wrestling self, like what you want to do. Um, but it is just believing in yourself. Like when I went to Robbie Brookside school, I couldn't do a promo for 6 months, and there's people there that weren't on shows, just trainees, and they were getting up and holding a fake WWE microphone and they were just killing it. And I would sit there so insecure and I just built up this fear and I was like, I can't go in the ring and I can't do it. But that was more because I think as well, being myself and being vulnerable. And then it was actually thanks to Robbie, which I then created a character because he was like, well, my fear was to be scared, to be laughed at. So he was like, create a character where you want people to laugh at you. So that's when I then created a chav character because it didn't really matter how I would say things or act. I kind of wanted it to be a bit funny. Yeah, and my first promo there was actually about um, he said to do a promo about something that's really hurt you emotionally or you've got anger, something where you hold emotion. And it was about my dad making me stop dancing as a kid because that was one thing that really affected me and really upset me. And then I did my first promo. But here, yeah, with him, it was all about self-belief and like, you can do it. And he treated everyone the same there. So that school was great. And I guess his advice to believe in yourself.
What's like the
Mm.
one thing that keeps you going when you feel scared or afraid, or when, I guess, when you first started cutting promos, or like what was the one thing that kept you going the most?
Um, every time, so once I started doing promos, because it would be at the end of every training session, I'd still feel fear towards it. But it's more once one person stands up there and does it, and then another person, like it's like the time's ticking, and that you can have a subject of like, okay, for 60 seconds, talk about the grass or dun dun dun, it is just not caring, and just I would think in my head, okay, right, I'm this person, how am I going to react to that? And um, everyone messes up, so that's all that's going to happen. Like if you don't get up and do it, um, like me, like looking like a big baby, but it's okay to go up there and get your tongue twisted and mess up. And I kind of everyone claps after everyone's promo. So I guess doing it, then receiving that did always give me then a confident boost. I'd drive home for like 2 hours and not be hating myself, and I'd drive home and feel happy.
Yeah, it's that confidence booster that you really have to get and overcome the fear. You performed and have been on stage. It's prepared you for wrestling, and so you build that confidence up and you take those bumps. You start putting the work in and the reps. First match, nervous? Were you excited? Were you scared?
Yeah, my first match I would have been terrified. I would have been terrified, but um I'm trying to think as well, because like my some of my first matches were more like Nixon Newell and Tony Storm, Nadia Sapphire, and it was all girls that I kind of got along with, and you were cool as well. It wasn't big pressure or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I used to want to run away before going out. So, but you just got to go for the curtain and go and do it. So
Well, the more matches you have, the confidence starts building up, and you start feeling, you don't feel those nerves anymore. You feel ready to
mm,
go, and you feel, once you hear the roar of the crowd, the adrenaline kicks in.
yeah.
And so over time, you've had such an incredible career working so many different people. Who have been some of your favorite opponents that you've gotten to work against over the years?
Oh, gosh, so I have enjoyed, yeah, many matches. Wrestling EO in Japan was amazing. Still can't believe that I had a title shot back then against her. Um, Again, in Japan, I loved so many matches. Like even B, who was my tag partner, I loved wrestling her then back in England. Um, Sumi Sakai for Women of Honor, I love that match. And she was great, like she's fab. But yeah, they're probably in Japan. I did like it was just it's so different. Like the girls really push and push. Like it's like next level. I almost sometimes then used to come home and be like, oh, okay, we're gonna do a show with like 30 people now, and you know, compared to there. Uh,
When I've had people on the show, we've talked about the differences of wrestling in Japan versus wrestling in the U.S. or wrestling in England. Talk to me about your experience in Japan because it's just got such a rich culture of
yeah.
wrestling.
No, it definitely has. Like, just everything's different, really, in regards to, say, if you've got a weekend of shows, you'll be at dojo throughout the week. Some schools nowadays probably operate like 2 or 3 times a week, but you'd probably be there 4 or 5 times in the week training, um, which is hard. Uh, and then plus like the travel and the shows then on the weekend. But the girls I think they just respect the sport so much. It's a lot more hard hitting, and yeah, like even from watching, you can just tell like it just seems so much more and more like next level. I don't even know kind of how to put to words really.
Yeah,
And again, the shows they always draw good crowds. So depending on a show in England, you can't, obviously there is some really good promotions that get good crowds. And then you've got, like smaller family shows, and it might just be an easier match and, a 5 minute match, and you're not coming out battered or aching, and you've performed in front of 30 people, which is fine. But I just think with Japan, it's like the schedule, the training, how amazing the shows are. Um, the girls, even the young girls, like they're so good. Like no matter, say like a drop kick, for example, of a beginner girl, it's like as crisp as anything. It's just perfect. Everything's perfected.
yeah, definitely the crowds are very passionate about the industry and professional wrestling. They are just really like into it. You can tell. Now you've gotten a chance to work in the U.S. as well a few times. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, for Shine. Um, I think it was twice I worked there, and that was really cool. That was all woman show, isn't it? In Florida. and I only did a couple of shows out there, and then I think, oh, I can't remember what the area was now, or promotion. This is going back a long time though, so my brain is a bit rusty. But yeah, and just some custom wrestling out there, but it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
What is like your ultimate goal in the business? Where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Just enjoying it. Like, literally, I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to obsess over it. I don't want to feel that I'm not good enough. I don't want to feel heartbroken. I don't want any carrots dangled at me. I just want to literally, even if it is the shows of 30 people, I just want to do it because for 6 years, I say I haven't wanted to for 6 years. But I just hated wrestling for so long. I really did. Like after the World of Sport fell through and then it wasn't going to get televised. Because I signed a contract for that and then it just wasn't going ahead. I just kind of felt nothing wasn't going to happen for me. And as much as I love Japan, I was happy doing tours, but I don't know. I don't know if I kind of put a time limit on things as well. Um, and then I'd always blame like relationships not working because of wrestling and this and that. And I just hated it. And once I stopped, I think it was like after COVID, I got asked to do another tryout, and I was like, no, I don't wrestle anymore. Even B, my friend, would be like, come on, please, like they're doing NXT UK, like, well, you should come back to it, or we could do Japan again. And I remember being like, no, I hate it. But I think I was just holding it as a pain. Whereas I look back now and I'm like, you should have just carried on, like, and pushed through it. And everyone has blips in any career when they're unhappy and unsure of things. Um, and then I just really started to miss it. But then as I started training, I started thinking, oh, could I go to Japan again? Or could I get on these shows? Or, is there too many girls now? And all these things in my head. And I was like, no, you enjoy training. You've established that you've come back and you're enjoying it. You're still semi kind of okay. So just go back and just make sure to enjoy it, like with no pressure. Um, yeah. And it's like with shows, I want to work on shows where I know it's a good locker room and there's not, dramas or any, yeah, just basically just enjoy it.
I think
And
it's
if
amazing.
opportunities come, it'd be great. So who knows?
I think it's amazing how women's wrestling has evolved, and there's a market, a huge market now for the product now. All the products are really, stepping up as far as not only with talent, but just being able to have so much content out nowadays. You got WWE here and AEW, TNA, New Japan, and all these different companies now, especially,
Mhm.
you know, and you've also got WoW and some of the other ones uh, that have really stepped up their game with their women's divisions.
Mm.
It's amazing to see how far women have come in the industry. Have you thought about having an extended run in America just for doing it, just to
Yeah,
try it out?
yeah, it would be something I'd be open to, definitely. Yeah, I'd just love to go to any country. Like I'd go back to Japan and do it, but as long as I'm enjoying it and yeah, and
Do
not
you
unhappy, that's what I want to do. But I did love wrestling in America.
do you have any dream matches of people you want to face currently, or if you had one that you wish you could wrestle someone from the past, who would that be?
From the past, obviously it would be EO. Um, I've never wrestled Millie McKenzie in England, and yeah, so I'd love to wrestle Millie. She's amazing. Did see her in Japan. She was wrestling for Sendai at the time, obviously Oz with Stardom, but I've never wrestled Millie. Um, even B, yeah, wrestle B again. I'm trying to think who's on the indie scene. Aluna, I train with her. She's amazing as well. Like we do train really well together. Um, yeah, and actually, to be fair, it'll be a good storyline because she got into wrestling from watching me versus Dominita at a match many years ago, and then she started training. So we've got a little bit of history.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. And I
Mm.
think, the UK is definitely seen a lot of women's talents really explode as well. Being able to have such an amazing group of women, putting on incredible matches. So the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah. You only have to look at Eve, like the promotion Eve, it's got so many amazing British females wrestling on there from, well, yeah, from England, like so good. And it attracts a crowd and it's all women's promotion.
It really is fascinating, to see how far women's wrestling has gone and will continue to grow. So I think you'll see just it really continue to thrive for years to come.
Mm, yeah, definitely.
Now, I want to switch gears and talk about some of the stuff you've done outside of wrestling. I know you've done a lot of charity work and have helped out around your community. What kinds of things have you done to help out over the years?
So a charity that I give to is PDSA. So it basically provides care for sick and injured animals, for people that struggle financially. So I was once at a bad point with a dog that I had years ago, and I had to get help. So whenever I can, that's one charity that I want to and will always kind of help. Because obviously everyone, it's sometimes kind of struggle, and I'm open to say that I did. And my dog was really sick, and if it wasn't for them, she could have died. So that one. And obviously, I'm an animal lover. Um, a charity that I really do want to go, they do protest 24/7, which I know probably sounds scary, but it's a good protest. Is Camp Beagle, which I discovered from going into a a body shop store. And they were handing out flyers, and it's basically one place in England where it's a puppy farm for beagles, and they're used for to be shipped off to toxicology labs. So one day I want to go there and join in with them. They also sell merchandise as well. So yeah, but anything, if I can, I will happily help with, especially with animals because they're just so helpless and they're lovable. So
They definitely are. How long have you had
yeah.
your dog?
So I've got Lula, who passed away, in the end, she died a few years ago. And then I have a 4-year-old Chow Chow and a 2-year-old Chow Chow.
Hmm.
So I didn't have all the dogs when I was wrestling, but I do now.
Dogs are just incredible, because I mean, you take care of them, give them life and love and give them love and really just they're very like, they say they're man's best friend, um, or
Mm,
woman's best friend. Being able to have like a companion, whenever you're feeling alone or you're feeling down, are like comforting.
they're
Um,
therapy, literally, they are, yeah.
it's just you really could use um, whenever you're going through something and it's hard to find, whenever you're going through a struggle, you can always count on a dog or any kind of pet
Yeah,
to help get you through whatever you're going through. And I think that having a dog or two can help get you through whatever pain you're going through. And so
yeah,
it's good that you have companions that just that really can help ease you through whatever stress you're having and just are there for you. And I think
yeah,
that's
no,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah, they are. Like at times I do think if it wasn't for my dogs, um, a few years ago I went through a really bad point in my life, and it's kind of like they were the things getting me out of bed to go and walk them because they have to be walked, they have to be left looked after. And I was so down, and they were the one things that were kind of perking me up. Um, so it's like when I at one point I had 3 dogs before my first one died, and yeah, when I wanted to buy the latest one, everyone was like, "No, why do you need a third dog?" And dun dun dun. And I'm just like, "You won't understand. Like, you won't understand. Like, just because, yeah, they're great." So
Yeah, to be able to have a companion like that, just it really gets you through the day. It really there's
Yeah.
nothing like it in the world. So you've been giving back. How long have been working with this charity for?
So I basically send donations, and that's probably over the last 2 years, 2.5 years, yeah.
Hmm. So I think it's good to really, when you find something that you're passionate about, like animal rescue.
Yeah.
Um, it's there's no greater feeling when you're being able to help whatever cause that's out there, because you just never know what anybody's going through, whether it's for a pet or for a loved one or someone that's sick. And being able to find something that you love to do and are passionate about, there's nothing like it.
No.
What is it about giving back to you that gives you the most joy?
So from me giving back to a charity, do you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, like
Yeah. I think like with animal ones, like it just I feel it because I needed help. So I know there's people out there that also do need that help. For me, it was either at the time to rehome and lose my animal. Like I was looking into things like where people could possibly temporary help. And even at one point, I remember with my dog, it's hard because I don't want to say too much, like say too much stuff out there. But yeah, basically, like I was struggling, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to help my dog. Um, and it then makes you think of how people feel that are desperate for help, and vet bills are horrific, you know. Um, and chow chows are quite an expensive breed. So even things of like insurance, like paying like £90 a month, it's just, whoosh. And then you just think, oh, it'll be fine, nothing's going to happen. And um, yeah, so I know how other people feel. Like if they're struggling and they don't want to lose, their loved one, oh, it's easy enough to pay £150 and have a dog put to sleep. Whereas, if you can say get £800 and then have your dog fit and healthy and alive, um, yeah, so it's just relatable because I've been there. So I know. And as much as it's embarrassing saying, it's also kind of like, I am a real person, crap happens in people's lives.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
hard, to lose a pet, you know, especially when you've had them for a long time. And I'm sure I'd imagine, you've had those memories, um, that go back so many years, and it's
mm,
tough to for that to end, for that to just
mm.
stop.
Yeah. And then, yeah, with the Camp Beagle thing, that just really got me because the leaflet that the lady passed me in the shop, it was a photo of the beagles with basically like gas mask cones on their faces. And I was like, what the hell? And she was like, yeah, this happens at a puppy farm. And I didn't even, like, so many people that I know now that know of this cause in England, you didn't think animals were being tested on, especially dogs. Dogs are being bred to have a gas mask on and go to toxicology labs. Like, it's disgusting. Um, and they're always preaching out people to sign the petition. I've even spoke to random people that are now aware of it. I think as well from some celebrities kind of plugging the charity. But the thought of it is just disturbing because I just didn't think that happened in England. Like, did not think that happened. Um, and yeah, so one day I want to go there. Even though I know it'd be horrible, I've seen people that have gone there, and now and then they do events to help raise money for their charity. So I remember seeing the once that they collabed with a tattoo artist, and it was like you could pay, say, like £30 and have like the outline of your dog's head tattooed on you, and then that money was donated to that charity. And I can remember I really wanted to do it, but it was my friend's birthday weekend. Um, but something like that, it's meaningful because I love animals. I love dogs. Um, So yeah, that's another one that is disturbing, and upsetting, and that, financially, if I can in the future, I'd love to be able to donate as well to them. Or if I see anything on their Instagram, reaching out to people, like I'd happily, help.
Yeah. I think that, it's when you find something you love and are passionate about, be as active as you possibly can because it just goes a long way. Kindness really, spreads so far. And by giving back to something like an animal
Mm,
rescue charity, um, you're basically helping not only spread awareness, but you're also trying to make the world a better place because you see these poor animals that are going through so
mm,
much in their life and they need love just as humans
mm.
do. So,
Yeah, yeah. Like with the protest place, so they basically set up a 24-hour camp outside where this happens. And from the videos on their Instagram, like it's disturbing, like the noises you can hear. And there's security guards whenever people like walk around the area. Obviously, you can't go in there. Um, but how rude the security guards are, and people are saying to them, like, you're heartless. How can you know what's going on in there and sleep at night? Like, you must hate animals, you must hate dogs. Like, and they just stand there, or even some of them have like laughed, and you're just like, you are not a human being. Like, what the, what are you? It's disgusting. So yeah.
well, why do you feel passionate about
Mm.
this particular cause?
I think really because I just, like I said, like a lot of people as well, like in England, just didn't know this happened, didn't know it was kind of, it's a place where they breed puppies to kill them, and a beagle is a popular dog, like any dog, that would be happening to is just horrible. I think it just disturbs me because I love dogs, so, and like many people, and then not knowing that this happened, it's outrageous, really. I just think yeah. I get science, like, you know, science and discovering things and curing things, um, but yeah, not
Yeah.
on little doggies, not on little
Oh,
dogs that have never seen daylight in their life. Like they're bred to be in like darkness, basically. It's just sad.
yeah, it
If
definitely
I went
is.
there, I probably would want to wrestle someone. So I don't know, but
Well,
uh,
on a lighter note, what's your favorite part about having a dog?
it is like you said, like the companionship. It is they the unconditional love. Like you can do, you know, they don't judge you. They just want to love you. Like they rely on you. Um, and I don't know, I guess not feeling lonely, like coming home and you have them and you get that greeting and yeah, little doggy therapy.
Yeah, can't go wrong with some therapy.
No.
Well, this has been a pleasure having you on. I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you? And if there's anything you want to plug, your social media, feel free to do so.
Yeah, so Instagram, I've kept that running over the years. To KT Electra now. I have got TikTok, but I kind of can't get into it at the moment. So I will get there. But yeah, my main one is KT Electra on Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.